All right, here we go. Good evening and welcome to the special edition of Showtime TV, Arts and Culture Edition. I'm your host, Omar Rashida. Today, we have a very special show. Topic of discussion is motivational speaking as well as public speaking. And I have 4 experts on here who'll be doing motivational speaking and public speaking. You know, some people are just afraid to do public speaking, and some people, they can talk and don't know how to stop. But tonight, we got some experts here to answer this evening. We have these men are no strangers to the program. I have interviewed these men before, as well as this young lady's about to come on. I interviewed her on actually TV, Channel 28. So we have the Apostle Ivory Hopkins. We have Minister Mark Hopkins. We have Coach D, Darrell Andrews, and we have Antoinette Capri. Everybody, good evening and thank you for being a guest on tonight's program.
All right.
Honored to be here, man.
All right. Okay. Antoinette, you good? Okay. Okay. You might have to unmute yourself, because you're not muted on here, so you should be able to hear us. But in any event, I want everyone to just introduce themselves, say what it is that they do, and how long have you been doing public speaking, motivational speaking, and what prompts you to be a motivational and public speaker. So let's start off with Coach D.
Yeah, man. Darrell Andrews, Coach D. I've been doing speaking professionally for 21 years. And I had a corporate background, but decided to use my voice in other arenas. But I started speaking, man, because I was heavily influenced by people that you will know when you hear these names, Dr. Miles Monroe, Zig Ziglar, and Jim Rohn, Les Brown. And I'm honored to say those names that I'm mentioning, I've had a chance to meet and interact with on multiple occasions. And I just was so moved by how they use their voices to impact the world around them, that even though I had a very comfortable corporate job, I said, no, this is not what I want on my tombstone. So I pursued the field, went to, some of my spiritual fathers and mothers for prayer about it. And God opened up some tremendous doors. So now we do not just speaking and training, we consult organizations, corporations, and businesses around team building, diversity, equity, inclusion, core values integration. So it's not just speaking. Now we do a lot of systems type stuff to really use our gifts to make a difference on the planet. So I love what I do. I get a chance to wake up every day and do it. And it's a blessing.
Okay. Mark?
Right. Yes. Mark Hopkins. I'm again out of Chicago, Illinois. I basically grew up. I found myself speaking to people in the family, younger people, as I was growing up, and then as I got older, I started looking at what I was doing and looking at what was kind of holding me back, and then the book came, pretty much to my mind. What's stopping you? What's stopping you? And I found myself, getting ready to, write this book. And then I'm like, if I'm going through this thing here, I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of other people that's having the same problem. So, started writing a book. God blessed me to do that, and became actually a pastor, ordained. I started doing men's conferences, and from there, I kind of went into the motivational, because I believe everybody needs to be motivated, and that's something that I'm inspired to do.
Okay, Apostle.
Well, praise God. Well, I've been in the ministry for 45 years. I was inspired by God to do that, and it has grown into not only speaking from a church and religious point of view, but also from a motivational and whole health teaching as well. I've written a number of books. One that I've written is called Wisdom Keys of Life. Another one is Breaking the Chain of the Fixer's Control, amen, and a spiritual place called Next, or Dream Killers. Those were all books that I have written, and they're based from a biblical standpoint of view, but they are practical, everyday living examples in them. And because I believe the people in the Bible, which were real people, they have some of the very components that we deal with today that we need to be able to live life. So that's where it started with me. And we've been doing it for 45 years, and now we became global, worldwide.
Okay. All right, Antoinette, you good? Can you hear us?
Yes, thank
There
you.
you go. All right. Okay. So how'd you get started in public speaking, and what made you want to be a public speaker? And what are you doing now currently? What's your occupation?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I do a little bit of everything at this point. 33 years as a certified nurse. I'm not practicing right now. I am actually in hiatus because I started a campaign for Let's Stay Resilient with everything that's going on with the pandemic and COVID and things of that nature. I think this is a better time. I repurposed my um, don't give up, get up. And I put it into perspective of what we're actually going through right now. And I'm just recognizing and realizing, even with through nursing and being a Lyft driver and being a parent and helping friends and family and things of that nature, everybody is going through a transitional time. And I don't know that everybody is really getting a handle on the fact that even though negative things are happening, new challenges and new opportunities are actually happening at the same time. And if we can repurpose and relook at what it is that we're going through, you'll see more of the lessons that we're learning and the things that we're actually doing. So it segues back to the book that I wrote, 31 Ways to Brighten Your Days, and keeping everybody in perspective through a caregiver's eyes.
All right. Okay. Now all four of you are authors. So I want to stay with Antoinette. You can start off. Did public speaking help you become an author, or did an author help you become a public speaker, or did it just kind of you had faith and just came all together?
They kind of happened two different times.
Oh, okay.
Yes, public speaking has been something that I've been doing indirectly all my life.
Okay.
I always enjoy helping people or voicing a different opinion, but not so much where it's um, overt. It's just one of those things that I did to help a situation or in theater or whatever the case may be. But the book came because at the time that I was actually doing caregiving, I was also working at a medical assistance position. And that, you know how they say the last one hired first, the last one hired, first one fired. So they were going through a layoff. They laid me off on Martin Luther King's birthday, right? I went to work on the holiday and they laid me off.
That's
I
rough.
went home, I kissed the kids, I went in the room and I started the book. By August, the book was finished. By December, I had published and was getting started and doing all of that. So the book came about because, again, being resilient, coming home and thinking, okay, I'm not going to worry about what has happened or what that job said about what I could do or what I couldn't do. I'm going to go ahead and do something greater and actually try to help the people that I actually work with anyway, because we're all going through something. And instead of always looking at what happened to you, look at what you can do with what happened to you is my idea.
Okay. The others, you want to chime in? Did you become an author? Did public speaking make you become an author, or did author make you be a public speaker, or it kind of just came together? Whoever wants to go next can.
For me, it was a natural byproduct of what I was doing. You know, I learned a long time ago that books are sort of an extension of you. And so, you know, since you can't go everywhere at the same time, you write a book, you can reach more people and have more of an impact. So again, you know, I was influenced by a lot of people who are selling quite a few of the books that, you know, during my early stages of my work and still even to this day. But I just realized that their books sometimes would have seemed like, you know, people would know more about their books than sometimes them. And so I said, man, I want to, you know, start, you know, writing books. My first book was entitled How to Find Your Passion and Make a Living at It. And I wrote that book because it was a byproduct for having so many people come up after presentations and say, you know, how you find your passion. I mean, this is not rocket science. I'm not talking about something where it was like deeply here. Just people just would ask that question so much. I said, maybe I need to write a book on it. So I wrote that book, and that book, it really impacted, you know, lots of lives. And so for me, a lot of the books that I write are really just an extension of my overall message. And so get some thoughts together and pull it together and write the books. And we've been able to, I'm an author of 8 books right now. And we've been able to have a significant impact. But for me, it was speaking that led to authoring. It wasn't the other way around. Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay, Mark.
I would like to share with answering your question right along with what the others have said.
Right.
It doesn't take a while for you to realize that the experiences that you've gone through in life were actually chapters and segments that would actually bring light and hope in other people's lives. The most tragic things that you go through, we ministers have a habit of saying, your misery is your ministry. And sometimes the passion that we have for the books we write, and that passion is drawn through everyday practical living, and sometimes falling, failing, and defeat, and saying it's okay to get up, to try again and keep moving. And so therefore, this is what many of us that are writers and public speakers, that's where the real passion is.
Yeah.
It's a passion in all of us, I think, to have what God has put inside of us and able to have another person's life see it's okay. We can do it. We can make it. That's what people need, really.
More than anything, Pastor. I'll say this too. With all the books I've written, the one thing that's had the greatest impact, I have a story, 5 Garbage Bags and a Dream, in a book called Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. And it's literally how I showed up at Cheney University's campus with everything I owned in 5 garbage bags. I wasn't registered for school. I had no financial aid, but I knew I was going to college. So I literally just showed up with a dream because I had dropped out of college. I heard that Cheney would help me. I had no idea what, if they could. A friend of mine told me I had $42 to my name. I took that, I had enough money for bus pass and $42. And I literally went to Philly, showed up on the campus, and 4 years later became the first person in my family to graduate from college. So,
wow.
And so the point I'm making, like Apostle just said, man, it's a story. It's I never thought back then when I was doing it that it was going to be in a book.
Right.
Yes.
But that story has impacted a lot of lives, a lot of lives, because that book was a bestseller. So you're right. Your life, your stories, and all that just end up going right on into writing and books.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Public speaking for a lot of us, for example, when you're in school, when you're in college, you got to do a public speaking assignment for a paper that you wrote. Many of us get nervous. We don't want to do it. We get anxiety, we get anxious. I mean, public speaking for a lot of people is very difficult, nerve-wracking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to start off with Mark, and then anyone else wants to chime in. When you are about to do a motivational speaking in front of a large crowd or public speaking in front of a large crowd, do you get nervous? This is for all of you. And if you do get nervous, how do you overcome being nervous?
Well, for me, I haven't been in a lot of, in front of a very large crowd, but in churches, I have preached and done a little bit of speaking. But normally when God gives me what I need to say and I write it down, normally whenever I get up and just start talking, 9 times out of 10, whatever I wrote down, a lot of times that don't even come out of my mouth. It pretty much just goes its own way. And I'm just there until I'm done. So, but I've spent that time getting ready, preparing myself. But then it just goes its own way.
I've got a good story, guys, that I think would really be a blessing to hear. I'll never will forget. Now, y'all got to understand, by you being in Wilmington, you're going to laugh at us anyway. Here I am from way down here in Sussex County, Delaware, in a place called Harbison. Now, when I go to speak, I said, I come from Harbison, Delaware. And the people look at me like, I said, I know. No one knows where that is. That's exactly the truth. But check this out, Sister Antoinette, here I am. I'm stepping out on the stage, coming from Harbison. I'm walking out 3,000 people, nervous as I ever want to be. And all of a sudden, a creative idea hit me. And there was a person on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side and in the middle, that as I was talking, they were like, and I started talking and gathering myself together, and I started intimating with them as if I was having an evening conversation with one of the brethren or the sisters. And I hit left, right. And when people came out the service, man of God, it was if you were talking right to me. If they would have known, I was scared to death. And I was talking to those two people. Because Antoinette, Sister Antoinette, when I looked out in the crowd, I was getting ready to freak out and freeze. But instead, I went left, middle, and right. And I looked like I had such style, scared to death.
Apostle Hopkins, that's, Zig Ziglar gave that same advice, man. Act like you're speaking to somebody. Find you a few folks in the audience, just have a conversation with them, and that's all it really, that's what it is, big crowd or even small crowd.
That's what rescued me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I've taken habit to always just talking to people before I even have to take stage. I kind of get familiar with like just a couple of people. With you is eye contact. With me, it's like just having a little conversation, maybe a conversation with the person that invited me, or maybe have a conversation, just like a little something. And then every time that I go to speak, I concentrate more on the content. What do I want them to really like take me out of the picture, and just like, what is it that I'm really trying to say? So most of the time I'll either start with like it's kind of a joke, but it's not a joke, because I'm really just trying to deviate from what it is that I'm actually, whether they're waiting, anticipating for something. Because when you first get on, it's like they're waiting for a show, and it's like, I'm not really gonna do a show. But if I've talked to somebody, I'll bring up a conversation that I just had with someone. Most of the people in the audience can relate to what I said to that person. We start laughing, or we start getting into something, and then I go right into what it is that I came to talk about, and it just kind of flows. It just feels like we're all connected just because of what it is that we all feel familiar with in that room at that time. So that's how I do it.
I got to chime in with you, because I do a lot of the same. Like I like I always have an opener, and to me the opener is that's the thing that gets the ball rolling. You got a strong opener, you know what I mean? And so sometimes it's something you kind of prepare for, and then sometimes it's something that happens. Like Mr. I'll tell you a little quick funny story. I spoke in the Cayman Islands one time, and it was I had a day before I was supposed to speak. And so the Cayman is beautiful. You've never been. It's one of the most beautiful islands. And I mean, they have white sandy beaches and all. So I'm going out there snorkeling, and I'm having a good old time. And as I go into the water, I go up under and I'm snorkeling, and I look over this little baby barracuda. And I was told that there's barracudas in this water, right? But I think, I'm not going to see one of those, So I saw this little baby one. That's this little baby barracuda. And then I looked to my right, and there was a 6-footer. In my face.
Oh my God, your attention, didn't it?
And so I'll tell folks, if you can say Jesus underwater, I said it. And I said and so I go back to shore. Now I found my opener, right? So I'm on the stage and I'm sharing my experience about what happened and how this barracuda had me running underwater, and I didn't think that was humanly possible. And so the guy that invited me in, he as I'm sharing the story, he waits till I'm done. He yells as loud as he can. There's about 500-600 people in there. As loud as he can. He said, "Don't worry, Coach D. They don't like Delaware meat."
You know what?
That was my presentation, and man, we had a ball from there on out. But that situation connected the dots.
If I could share one other thing, you've got me laughing. Coach D, God, you will love this. I was booked in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, this is years ago. I was booked in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Key speaker, Dr. Miles Monroe.
Oh, Lord.
Saturday, Ivory. No, Dr. Miles Monroe, Saturday, Ivory Hopkins. So, so Miles and his wife was there, me and my wife. So we all get in the car together. Dr. Monroe was just so wonderful, incredible. So down to earth and so simple. I was nervous. I mean, I had one of them kind of even go to the bathroom nervous, that kind. And I'm thinking, I've got to speak with this man. The man is a technician with words. Well, look, Sister Antoinette, when I go into the service right now, I'm already nervous.
Yeah.
I hear this magnificent piano playing.
Mm.
And when I walked in the door, it was him. I said, did he even play piano? I mean, I was just outdone. But look, that night, you know how Dr. Monroe is. He killed it with purpose. He tore it up. I went back in that after the service, darn near depressed. I'm gonna tell the truth and shame 3 devils. Darn near depressed. I've got to speak tomorrow morning behind Dr. Miles Monroe, and the Holy Spirit inside of me, the grace inside of me spoke to me and said, stop it.
That's right.
Go be you, because you can do you all day long.
All day
And I
long.
walked up there and did me, and the service was excellent.
Yeah, man.
I learned a grave lesson, not to fear, motivationally speaking, behind or in front of anyone. They can never be you. That's the unique thing about all 4 of us here. We are ourselves created, and there's not a copy in the planet. I'm nervous.
There you go. That's it. And you know, Miles would have said the same thing to you. Do you, man? That's how he was. He was totally, he had no ego whatsoever. None.
Just a simple man.
Yep. That's all.
And that's the other thing with resilience is that you always are trying to just do what it is that you were created to do. And then the opportunities come. Just being you is enough. We are all about collaboration, not competition. There's no need for competition. Nobody can do you like you.
No.
Yes.
I've seen people do public speaking, motivational speaking, etc. And they said some things that were controversial, and they got booed from the crowd. So, Minister Mark, Pastor Mark, I want to ask you: if someone is speaking, and then they get booed, and they hear some boos, some chuckles, and all that stuff, what do you recommend that they do? He or she do? How do they overcome being booed while doing public speaking?
Well, one thing I would do, and I would have to continue to speak, but I would not look at them. I would just continue. I would look at, like we were talking earlier about making eye contact. A lot of times I'll just, I'll look at the wall behind people, make that my focus, and kind of scan the room. But I wouldn't stop. I would continue and just go from there. Try to recover it.
You know, Omar, I would just say this as a person who's been on a whole heap of stages. There's a difference between a speech and a discussion. So if it's controversial, 9 times out of 10, it could be something political. It could be something, that's a different type of a presentation. If you're going up on stage to be a motivational speaker, you're going on stage to be a motivational speaker. You're really not going up there to stir up controversy. You're going up there to stir up people, to get them to think differently and all of that. But then you have different types of presentations where you may have some conflict because it may be a controversial issue. And so like in my work, we come in, like, for instance, I mentioned diversity, equity, inclusion. There's nothing more controversial than that. So, and so you go into some of these meetings and you got folks that's looking at you like they're ready to take your head off, but, through God's grace, and I also say through his anointing, just like he did Joseph and everybody else, he gives you the words to say to really bring people together to understand what you're trying to communicate. And that's a gift too. You know what I mean? To bring people with polar opposite perspectives and bring them to the table to be able to communicate something that they may not feel comfortable with. That's different than just speaking. Yeah. That's a little bit more in depth. It's understanding the dynamics of human beings. And I always tell people, because a lot of people say they want to speak. I say, you really need to understand people in the people dynamics. But a motivational speech to me is supposed to be motivational. You get on that stage, you're inspiring people, you're causing them to maximize their potential, you cause them to become introspective, but you're not there to really cause conflict. That's not what that, I don't want people paying me to come in. That's not what it's typically for.
Were you gonna say something, sis? Were you gonna say something, sis?
Oh, no, I was just, I guess in a way, the nursing in me would always address that they're, make a notion of a movement in reference to the fact, I hear you booing, but here is where I'm going with this, or whatever the case may be. Because acknowledging that, and like sometimes it just simmers because you're saying, I hear you, but the bottom line is I'm going to finish what I'm saying, but at the same time, continuing on, just like Mr. Darrell said that Mr. D or Coach D said that we include people in the conversation. I'm always having the conversation, whether it's motivating, inspiring, or whatever the case may be. Most of the time when they're booing, they just want to be acknowledged. The ones that keep on going with it, sometimes the host or whomever will go ahead and exit those people. I don't know that type of crowd, because again, I give discussions or we intimately talk. It just happens to be a whole bunch of people in the room. But if you ever got into that situation, it seems as though if you acknowledge that they're saying something and then continue on by addressing just that part and keep on going in your talk so that they don't take you off of your beaten path, then, it usually simmers out by itself.
I would like to share, I was on a particular show from another country, and this show was known for some of its real, provocative conversation. But I came there for the motivational side, and it was just so happened I stayed in my lane, and almost as a speaker, some of you ever felt like I escaped. In other words, you went like, you know what? Thank you, Jesus. I did not get caught up with something that was not a part of my agenda. If I'm, as a motivational speaker, the motivational side of me is building. It is including, directing, and building. Okay. And when I get into stuff that tends to attack, harass, and beat down, I'm coming in to do completely the opposite. And when I went on this particular show, I'll never name the names because I'm respectful like that. When I went on that show, they allowed me to stay in my lane. Now, and it was just because of the way that I point my speech and the way that I direct what the subject I'm dealing with. I stay right on point. I keep it right for what I'm going for. And I wouldn't let someone to the left or right. There is a measure of polite control, but right. I will not allow my meeting to be taken over.
That's right.
But we have found to be direct. And in that meeting that night, I was like, it went extra. My wife said to me, well, did you run into the problem that you thought you would? Because they are very radical. I said, believe it or not, they totally let me stay in my lane. And that's what you want to do when you're trying to motivationally speak. Stay in your lane. You know the agenda that you came for. You stay with it. You keep the point that you're trying to make clear, concise, and usable. Boom.
That's it. Your assignment is your assignment. You know what you're assigned. You were sent there on assignment. So you know what you're there to do. And you're gonna always have people, even in motivational presentations, you're gonna have a few folk out there that's just, that's gonna be people. That's what it is, and you get a tendency to meet some of them after the speech. They got something to say. They're gonna come up, they're gonna tell you, I really appreciate your presentation. I was like, okay, so keep going. However.
Yes.
Now you go. Like sometimes I've had to do speaking on how to hold or mold your relationship, and I know right well. I said, "Boy, you're jumping in the water. Don't give me an anchor," because you know right well you're gonna live. You're gonna talk about good common sense principles of how we should treat each other civilly, and there will be that person, but you don't know Agnes. Yes.
They just stand in line. They waiting.
Yes, sir.
Just waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Prior to the show, I was thinking about how creative I could be with this particular topic this evening. So I thought about some scenarios that I want to throw at you in terms of using your motivational skills and techniques and words of encouragement. So I'm going to give a few scenarios. A first scenario, Bob Johnson had applied for 5 jobs. He got rejected for all 5. Maybe he didn't have enough work experience. Maybe he didn't have enough education, but he got rejected. Sue Collins, she went on 3 auditions to be in a play, and she got rejected for all 3 roles. There are those, if they get rejected, it's almost like it's the end of the world for them. They may develop a low self-esteem. They may fear of moving forward in terms of trying to audition again or trying to apply for a job again. They may even say to themselves, I'm not allowed to do anything. I'm just a loser. I'm just a failure. So I want to start with answer that, ladies first. For those who have difficulty accepting rejection and their self-esteem is so low that they have trouble moving on, how would you motivate them or encourage them to overcome that rejection and move forward to life and continue to pursue his or her dreams and aspirations, if you will?
Sure. I usually kind of, again, with the nursing, that's my go-to. So I'm
Okay.
always trying to find out or delve into what makes them want that particular field or industry or whatever the case may be. And then I usually try to get them to look at their transferable skills. People don't really realize that whatever you used to do or whatever you did at home or whatever you did somewhere else, there's some kind of skill that you learned that you didn't realize was actually able to be used for something else. So if they really want to do what it is that they're trying to do and they're getting rejected and they're feeling some kind of way about that, figure out what it is that actually you think might be the reasons why that is the case. But then check with people. Usually don't ever ask the people that they're working with or talking or interviewing with, what was this decision of why they made it. Some people don't want to know because they really can't handle it. Like you said, they don't want to hear it. But then if they really are not sure, they were just really pursuing this because they thought that's what they really wanted, and then we find something that they have that's transferable, maybe there's another industry that we can try. I just don't believe in the word no. I believe in next option or next opportunity. NO to me just means next opportunity. So we're looking for something else that maybe you can do, or, get used to or get understanding of the fact that rejection is just not rejection. They're not rejecting you. They're rejecting the opportunity to do whatever you wanted to do. So just that's how I motivate.
If I can chime in, because we've actually done quite a bit of work. We're a contractor here in Delaware for a number of years in the workforce. So at one point, we were the first African-American firm to get a contract in with the state of Delaware to do workforce development through what's called WOIA, the Workforce Investment Act. But but with a job interview, there's some people are looking for just a job per se or work, and some people are looking to work for a specific company. And so if you're getting rejected, it really has to do a lot with the way you interview or your lack of understanding of what they're looking for. And I tell people all the time, today, you can really, through the internet, research companies. Do you know anything about the company when you go in there? Are you asking them questions about the company itself that shows them that you did your homework? So it's kind of like you have to step back and say, what am I doing that seems to cause me to get rejected? Am I not prepared enough? Did I practice my interview? How am I responding? What's my body language like in the chair? So just some practical things. But as far as thinking, rejection is just a part of progress. That's just the way it is. And then I like to tell stories. I said, well, you think about 5 times, tell Colonel Sanders, who rejected 1,009 times when he tried to sell Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe, 1,009 times. You talking about rejection? Talk about Henry Ford. People said, well, you only have an 8th grade education. You're not smart enough. Now we all driving around here in these automobiles because of a man with an 8th grade education. So the reality is what we think about ourselves, our ability to realize that progress, you can't progress. There's gonna be some rejection, but how do I think about it? Is it like the end, or is this a way for me to learn so I can do something different to get a new result? Now, let me say this before I go. That's called the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. Fixed mindset runs into an obstacle. That's it for the rest of my life. Growth mindset says, bring it on. Because I've learned from this mistake. I'm going to figure it out. And there's there's a good book out there that's written by this, Dr. Carol Dweck of Stanford. It's called Mindset. And it's really So people who progress have growth mindsets. They don't look at rejection as the final.
That's right.
They look at it as a way to learn so they can progress. So those are just a few thoughts that I have about that.
And I'm gonna chime in on that as well.
Go ahead, Al.
You know, the only thing I can pretty much go off of, like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of motivational speaking, but I'm new to this, so I'm really growing. But I go off of the experiences that I've had and what I've went through. You know, being you know, ex-Marine, coming out the Marine Corps, going you know, back home to Fort Wayne, Indiana, moving out to California. Went out there for 13 years, making $5 an hour working security at 25 years old, and how God moved me from there through the telecommunications industry, you know, interviewing. I've had interviews with, you know, I work for a multi-billion-dollar company now. And I had to interview it. It was 25 people going for my job, and that's how I got on. I was number 2 and actually got in. But one thing I say is, one, you know, you talk about the attitude. You have to have the attitude, and you have to have the attitude that, you know, I'm going in, and one, I'm going to be an asset for this company. I gotta let them know, and they have to believe while I'm sitting there interviewing with them that they want me. You know, they want me. You know, and the reason they want me is because I'm an asset, and by them sitting there talking to me for just like you know, if you sat and you talk to a person for 5 minutes, you automatically know what type of person this is. It don't take a whole lot of time to find out, you know, a person's character. You know, and they doing the same thing in the interview. They sit there, talk to you, find out your character. Sometimes you don't have to have the experience, but if you got the right attitude and you got the right mindset, you're teachable and trainable, then they'll bring you on just because of that. So, you know, it's that attitude that you know, and you got to have good character. You know, do things that's going to build your character. Those people that were losing. Those were getting rejected. You know, like I said, what were you doing during the interview? You know, how did you go in and how did you present yourself? You know, are you going in looking professional? You know, or did you go in with your pants sagging? You know, those are, you know, automatically you can just cut yourself and shot yourself in the foot, you know, just by walking in the door, not looking, being presentable in a certain way.
Right.
So.
Go ahead, Apostle.
Okay. Now the work that I do is not only motivational speaker. I am a counselor. Matter of fact, I work doing that every week. It's been amazing in the season that we're in. But let's go back to the picture you've got. The person has come talking to me, Brother Ivory. I have been rejected 5 times, and I just want to talk to you. Is there any advice you can give me? My first approach with them would be to examine the cycle. In other words, try to talk to him about it, because I can't go back and grab the rejection. I can't go back and get that point. It's done, but I am going to move forward. Now watch what I move forward with them with. Number one, we're going to examine the cycle that you keep seeing repeat itself. Got that? Then I've got this Bible verse that I love. It's a universal principle, comes from one of the wisest men in the Bible, King Solomon. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 3 and 4. It reads like this: any enterprise is built by wise planning, becomes strong through common sense, and profits wonderfully by keeping abreast of the facts. Let me break it down. Meaning that I try to get that person to number one, let's take an approach of what's in you, your ability, your skills, your know-how. Let's look at the wise plan to make it happen. Number two, let's find out how to use common sense, because any enterprise is built by common sense. Now, Coach D might have went there with 5 bags, but he also went there with a common goal, common principle, and he had a plan. He had an idea that made it happen. So any enterprise is built by wise planning. Number 2, become strong through common sense. Number 3, and by the way, you can both have common sense and the Holy Ghost. I say that in church sometimes, but your common sense is a commodity we need. And the last part of that verse is profits wonderfully by keeping abreast of the facts. So I would say to that person, what are the facts necessarily and needed? Don't tell me I'm believing for it. No. Don't tell me you're just believing. Don't tell me you're just hoping and wishing.
Yes.
What is it that profits the common sense that keeps abreast of facts? Going back again in these three, any enterprise is built by, you must have a wise plan to make happen what you're trying to do, or to make yourself available or attractive to a company. You must have common sense, what have you, in the realm of not only naturally thinking, but just practical ways that you're carrying yourself. And the third one is, it profits wonderfully by keeping abreast of the facts. What do I mean by the facts? What does it take to be qualified? What does it take? If it's something you need to add degree-wise, study-wise, what does it take? Or if when you're filling out a resume, what do you have in your life and resume that will add up to making you valuable?
Yes.
Once a person finds out the value in them, there's nothing more powerful and dangerous than a man or a woman who has found their value and others want it.
Amen.
Apostle,
So I
let me
would
ask
try
you.
to help them search for that.
You can feel
Let
it.
me ask you. Can rejection be a good thing?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Woman of God, you want that? Sis, you want that? Yeah, excuse me, I talk churchy girl, but you know what I mean.
Go ahead, Antoinette. Go ahead, Antoinette.
Antoinette, you want that?
No, I had already kind of said it. I talk in summary, but rejection is helping you see. Sometimes the door that closes allows the window that's over there to open. And sometimes you don't need to be. I always say, I'm gonna cut myself. When you go into an interview or you go meet people or you're in relationships or anything, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
Yes.
That's it.
Is it somewhere you want to be? When you go into, even when you're in the interview, watch how they're talking to each other. Watch how the person that is walking you back, or the person that asked you to anything, when you go in the front door, when you are in the back room, when you come out of the room, see what's going on. You're going to be spending 8 to 10 hours a day. Well, back in the day when jobs were like that, now we work virtually, but you're going to be spending so much time with these people. Are these the people that you want to spend time with? Sometimes the place that you want to go is not really the place that you need to be. And it's not helping you to become anything greater. You also want growth when you go somewhere. You don't just want a job because it's a job. You would actually build some skills there, regardless of whether you're staying and you're building a career or whether you're just there temporarily. You want something that's going to build your skills just as much as they're going to be benefiting from your work ethic as well. So rejection sometimes is absolutely a good thing, because sometimes people help you make the decision that you didn't know anything about before you even get to it.
Let me add a
Check
different
this out.
spin
Go
on
ahead.
it
Go
too,
ahead,
because
Coach.
I'm an entrepreneur, and trust me, we experience rejection all the time. So we don't get every deal. We don't. It ain't like every time I put a proposal out there, everybody say, "Okay, yeah, come on, we're gonna go with it." So we see rejection over and over and over again. But let me tell you, this is when you get smart, because you can handle it one of two ways. You can say, well, they rejected my proposal. Okay, fine. Thank you. Move on to the next one. Or you can ask them, what could I have done different in that proposal that would have made a difference? What did you not see? You know what I mean? So guess what? That rejection is actually making me stronger.
Right.
Yes.
I can take that information and grow from it. So it all depends on how you look at it. You know, some people just get offended. They don't want anything to do. But in our space, we deal with it so much. Our goal is to grow with it. And then we get the deals we get. Of course, it grows our businesses. We do things like that. So there's a different perspective on, I mean, you know, sometimes, like I said, like was said in some of the present conversations here, sometimes it's good because, okay, I really shouldn't have been with that company in the first place. But in some scenarios, it could be a growing opportunity for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Check this out, guys. This, in the last 2 years, now, like I said, I'm counseling people all over the country, all over the world. In the last 2 years of COVID, I've seen an amazing resilience in people who have literally been in jobs and sometimes not having jobs wherein they felt rejected. They felt like, I'm really not, this is not pulling the best out of me. And I call this the COVID cave. They go into the COVID cave. You go through the feeling depressed and everything's terrible. And some of them have become motivated, and what was lying in them dormant come alive.
Yes.
The
Yes.
creativity come alive. The book starts to get written. I'm
Yes.
seeing it every
Yes.
week, and it is amazing. This is an amazing season that in a pandemic, the spirit of creativity that God put on the inside of us, many of you are rising to the occasion. Some
Yes.
of them would tell you, I've been rejected. I failed. Nobody had my back. I'm working at a job wherein I feel like I'm not really doing at best. And this pandemic crisis pulled out of them, and many of them have changed jobs or made themselves qualified for moves. And some of them have created their own workspace, and they're not asking anybody to hire them because they become the business themselves. I'm saying.
Amen.
Right. That's right.
There's a term that I've been using a lot that I just want to share real quick. And this is stuff, I'm a byproduct of Miles's ministry. I'll tell you right now. So a lot of stuff, I may even sound like a man when I speak, I don't know. But, but he talks a lot about crisis. And he would always say, crisis, for some people, crisis is crisis. And for some people, crisis is opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
You know what I mean?
That's definitely Miles. That's
That's Miles
Miles
right there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's Miles, man. And then he goes on and he talks about what happened in Hiroshima. You know what I mean? Back in Japan, where they dropped the bombs on Nagasaki and those two places. And after that happened, Japan said, that ain't never happened to us again. They said, what we're going to do. So industry came together with education, came together and said, they will never see us like this again. And how are we going to do it? We're going to dominate economically. So what are we going to do? We're going to create, certain spaces where we're going to dominate. So the first space was steel and all the creation of steel. So they didn't have iron ore, but they figured it out, got it over there and became the #1 steel manufacturer in the world. Then they said, we're going to be the #1 manufacturer of electronics. And so we all know the story. All of us got electronics from over there in our hands today. Then we're going to be the #1 manufacturers of automobiles. And guess what? That's to this day they are. Why? Crisis.
Yes.
Exactly.
Crisis created opportunity.
That's
And
right.
so I'm gonna feed off a little bit of what Pastor Hopkins said. Man, this is the time to be creative, man. Write them books, man. You know what I mean? Write them songs. Don't be sitting around twiddling your thumbs. Get busy. This is a time, because there's a term called disruptive innovation. And that's what this crisis did. It disrupted us. So we can go hide in the cave, or we can say, let's get busy and innovate, because this is a time to create new pathways. All right, I feel like I'm doing a speech right now. I ain't trying to
Right.
Wait a minute. Look. You know what? I'm sitting here. I got a thing y'all call wisdom teas. And I'm sitting here, and the part of me, the motivational part of me, listen at this. The beginning of improving yourself is knowing that you need to. Now that sounds simplistic, but some people have not come to grips that they need to do something about it. You can go, pull me, or you can say, this is the situation that I have been going around in circles in, and now I'm going for the solution, not to blame anybody else, but to find out, because it's in me. My God, I've got something in me. This is the motivational part of me. That's what we try to pull out of people. What's in there, man? You got yourself a hotline here today, Omar.
I know. I was ready for the show. I was ready. I said,
hey, listen, Omar, I got to share just one quick testimony. One quick testimony. Take me 2 seconds. Okay. 2 seconds, well, 3 seconds maybe. You know how this. Pastor, you preach. You don't do nothing in 3 seconds, right? So last year, a couple years when the COVID hit, I lost 95% of my business in 3 weeks.
wow.
I was doing everything live. You know what I mean? Live speaking, live training, live consulting. We traveling, hopping on this plane, going on here, going over there, and all of a sudden it shut down. Now I'm thinking like everybody else, this thing just passing through. 5 months later, 6 months later, it's still here. You know what I mean? Nobody booking, nobody contracting. So you know what I did? I called my team. I called my everybody. I said, you know what? We are innovating. Take all that live stuff off my website. We're doing virtual this, virtual that, virtual this, virtual that. I said, listen. I said, we're not gonna sit around here and twiddle our thumbs. we can get busy right here, like we're doing right
That's
now. We
it.
get busy
Yeah.
online if we have to.
We're beyond virtual.
My business has gone like 1,000% virtual. I
Absolutely.
have more virtual business today than I have live. And I'm telling you, it's thriving. Why? Disruptive innovation.
That's right.
Wow.
Go ahead, Antoinette. You have
Yes.
something you want to say?
Well, I was just saying to your avail, the question was really good because rejection really starts initiative and
Mhm.
innovation. It
That's
really, it's what you need.
Yes.
And people don't even recognize or realize when they are feeling rejected, it's the waking up. It's their growth. It's the, like everyone was saying here, it's their time to grow. And it's one of those warning signs that I talk about when I'm talking about emotional resilience, where it's not a trigger, it's an alert.
Mhm.
And we have our own alerts. Our gut tells us when something is going on, but we've been taught and trained not to pay attention to it because it'll get you off track. No, you're on track. You just have to have a different, like Coach D said, a mindset. And Apostle Hopkins, I think it's Apostle Hopkins, was actually
yes,
saying the same thing. And Mr. Mark was saying the same thing, that you have to actually know that you are actually needing change, and rejection starts initiation and initiative and innovation.
Mhm.
Let me give
if
you
I can-
my
if I can-
second scenario. Let me give my second scenario. We on a roll with it. I got to
You
get in
get
there.
motivators on here and think it's gonna be
We
just
keep
quiet
going. We
up
go all
there.
night.
Are you kidding me?
No. It's a great thing.
We'll
It's a
give a
great
couple of
thing.
speeches today.
Okay, but I want to start off with Mark. My second scenario. Jose tells his brother that he wants to pursue a bachelor's degree in business administration. His brother says, Jose, you know you ain't smart enough to go to school.
Oh.
All you got was C's and D's. You barely got out of high school. Business, what you gonna do? You don't know nothing about no business. You have what is called naysayers. So there are those who have dreams and aspirations of doing something, and then someone, and let me tell you this, sometimes the biggest naysayers could be your immediate family. So
Yeah.
your friends, your family say, man, you can't do this. So now Jose says, well, my brother said I can't do this. My mother said I can't do this. My father said I can't do this. Therefore, I'm not even going to try. So how do you motivate those who they share their dreams and aspirations with others, that others say, you ain't good enough for that. And so now as a result, his esteem is low. All his dreams and aspirations, he just let go by the wayside because he was told that he can't do it. Go ahead.
Well, in that case, and I've heard that before as well. One, I mean, you have to, they can't see, first of all, they can't see the vision that you have. You know what I'm saying? God told Abraham to go to a place where, I'm going to show you. A lot of times people are not going to, and you got to leave those people behind. You got to leave those people behind and continue moving forward. One thing about the dreams and the visions, and I tell people, I don't have to know how to do it. Because if I got the money, I can hire somebody to do the job. That's what I'm doing for the company I work for. They hired me, and I'm doing the job for them. So I don't necessarily have to know how to do it, but if I have somebody that knows how to do it, they can do it, themselves. So I would just tell them to continue to push forward. Don't let the naysayers stop you, because everybody's not going to capture your dream. Everybody's not going to push you forward. Everybody's don't want to see you move forward. There's a lot of people that don't want to see you advance. You have that there's a lot of people that have the crab in the barrel mentality. When they see somebody moving forward, they want to grab them and bring them back. No, you're not going nowhere. You're staying right here with us. No, continue to move forward. And whoever sees your dream, whoever sees your vision, there may be some people ahead that's tied to come and help you. You may see them, sometime in the future, but leave those people behind. That's all I can say.
If I might chime in my book called Deliverance from Dream Killers, I use Joseph as an example. He, at one point of his life, his brethren, including his father, his parents, thought that him having these great dreams or visions of what he would become was like, hey, boy, you're getting a little bit beside yourself. And there was, at every point of his life, there was somebody trying to kill his dream, but he kept pressing. I will say to those out here that have had Jose's brother tell you you're not smart enough, that you don't have what it takes. Even when I was reading, I think a couple of months ago, Michelle Obama's book, she was actually told by a teacher what she would not become. Behold, the first lady, Black first lady of America. So there is many people that will, family, some friends, and certainly some enemies will try to tell you what your limitation is. I would say the greatest thing that could happen to you is from your spirit. Take the dream and the drive that's on the inside of you and let it become. You know, I mean, when I started becoming, I'll use the term, a little well-known, after I moved out of Sussex County and was doing conferences all over America and the world, then I became, to some of the people in my neighborhood, oh my God, that's Ivory. I mean, I like, I respect, they give me the Apostle Hopkins, respect. I like that, that's cute. But I had to have something in me to drive beyond what other people thought about me. And that's super important, that what is in this guy, when his brother says, you're not smart enough, you're not able, he cannot let those words contain him. Yes. That's a drive in every single one of us on this program tonight. That drive made us push beyond naysayers. Matter of fact, there's a stubborn faith and authority that is on the inside of us. Stubborn.
Amen. Amen. I just want to say one quick thing. And this is going to sound strange and sort of contradictory, but I'm just going to say it, but there's a connection to it. The words of other people, well, let's put it this way. The words of other people aren't the thing that kill us. It's acceptance of those words that kill us.
There you go. Yes.
Absolutely.
Because people are going to say stuff. It's just the nature of human beings, many times, to say things, and sometimes in a way that's like totally contrary to what you're thinking as far as your dreams and goals. So it's not the words, it's what we do with those words. And so I got this thing, this statement that I live by. I can't control what people are going to say or do, but I can control my response to it.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
So if you want to take, as one of my good friends in Florida always said, if you want to take a stupid pill, take it all by yourself.
That's it.
Your words don't have to define who I am. Right. I allow your words to define who I am. You see, so we got to keep that statement in mind. I can't control what a person is going to say or do. Yeah. But I can control my response to it. And the problem is we allow people's words to define us more than our own internal resolve, more than our own faith that we have. And this is believers and non-believers. This is across the board. Sometimes
it's human nature.
Yeah, across, yeah. And so the point I'm making is I have to have an internal resolve that's so strong, that's so compelling that your words bounce right off me. Matter of fact, I can even feel sorry for you that you feel this way.
Right.
I'm so sorry you feel, man, like this be miserable. I'm serious, and we're having fun and I'm jesting, but it's the truth.
Yes.
Because we spend way too much time dealing with folks. That's what I'm talking about. What somebody said to me 30 years ago. I'm not even worried about what somebody said to me 5 minutes ago.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
Please.
I'm a signing.
It's my life. It's my life. That Bible talks about people, Joseph, Daniel, Abraham, individuals that stayed the course of what God wanted from them. And we reading about them today. Why? They didn't let things shut them down. They stayed the course of what God told them to do. And that's what we need to do. And don't let people, listen, do not let people shut your dreams down. Or the words that because that's ridiculous.
That's right.
Definitely. I'm gonna just chime in on it, and just in reference to, and I think everybody was saying value of self, but the word says, let the enemies be your stepping stools or your stepping stones and things of that nature.
Footstool, that's it.
Say it again.
Footstool. He will make your enemies your footstool.
There we
Oh, you
go.
could, come on, we knew what you were talking about. Don't play me. We knew what you were talking about, girl. We knew.
I
We
am,
know what you
listen,
were talking
I
about. Come
am
on, bring it.
Somewhere
definitely,
down there.
I am an intuitive person, but I am not verbatim. I will never claim that. I am not, but I can always tell you what it meant and what it said.
Exactly.
But at the same time, that having that value in, I always was letting people know the dream that you've seen is yours. Nobody else can see it on the outside. So you, first of all, you asking somebody about something that's inside you that's already been seen is going to be difficult for them to even address you, because you're asking for something that they can't see. So if they can't see it, and you're asking them approval for something that has nothing to do with them, that is your purpose, that is your vision, and you have to see it through. Yes, we would love to be approved by people that love us, and we would love to have them agree with us or get on our bandwagon. But most of us understand people are not getting and under support with you until they see what you've done, not what you're going to do, not
Absolutely.
what you envisioned. It's always about what it is. People start supporting you when they see the work, when they see the deliverance. If you're still guessing and trying to figure it out, you're also guessing on your value. And we all take time to find out our value. It doesn't just come. It's something that you've gotta own and hold on to. And then like everyone on the panel has said, that you have to continue to believe that so earnestly that nothing can shake it. Unstoppable, unshakable, all of those things have to happen in order for you to actually see that vision come to pass. Because most people are going to tell you that you can't, because they can't see it. And half of the time, you can't see it. You're sitting there asking questions because you can't even see what has been presented to you. But if you saw it in the vision, it's yours.
You think about where
I want to.
Okay.
I was getting ready to say, I would love to add something to what she said so wonderfully. I've noticed this. You're talking about people saying things that demotivates an individual. So there are people listening at this broadcast. You may have procrastinated on a creative idea. But let me tell you something that I've learned about procrastination after living and counseling thousands of people. Procrastination always attacks possibilities.
Yes.
You can't procrastinate on something that has no bearing, no fruit, no possibility. Do not allow procrastination to cause you to freeze up and let it steal your creative possibility. Because that's what procrastination is doing. Stop procrastinating from what others have said about you. There's a book in you that needs to be written. There's a job that needs to be done. There's a class that you need. There's a ceiling you need to crack. And you've got a drive in your belly. Because I believe that I believe that this is universal. It is God, our creator, that puts inspiration inside of us, and just don't let it die inside of you. Antoinette's book would have never been written. She let it die on the inside. It would have been a wonderful thought that she could have sat around and said, ain't nobody want to hear read nothing I got to say. But when she came out of procrastination, put aside all of what anybody would think or say, and just brought it, and behold, it's touching lives.
There you go.
Also, can I share? Can I do a Miles thing on top of that, just to lay a foundation?
Please do it. I can't get away from you, Miles.
We got to do a Miles thing on top of that. But he wrote in his book, Unleashing Your Potential, that the greatest deposits on this planet are not found in the diamond mines of South Africa or the oil wells of Saudi Arabia. The greatest deposits on this planet are found in your local cemetery. In there were books that were never written, songs that were sung, artwork that never made it off the canvas of the mind of the originator. In the graveyard, you have potential that remain potential. That's not going to be any of you, and it's not going to be any of these listeners, because we got to take this thing and get it out. We got to bring it. If it's that restaurant, if it's that book, if it's that new career, you got to see it. But don't deprive us of it.
Pastor Mark, Mark, I think the blessing, being a minister or those that speak in the lives of people, is you're seeing your life go beyond yourself.
Yeah,
that's deep. When what what has brought you through, what has brought you out, you're seeing it go beyond yourself, man. I just thought I'd give a shout out to you, brother,
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
Glory to God.
Apostle, Samantha has given an opportunity for advancement on her job. She has the opportunity to be promoted and relocate. Her promotion is vice president. Samantha said to herself, oh my God, vice president, that's a big responsibility. Oh my gosh, I have to relocate? Maybe I don't know if I'm ready to do that. So we talked about fear of rejection earlier. There are those who fear success.
Mhm.
So how do you encourage and motivate those who may be afraid to take that next step and say, listen, because some people, we're content. We feel comfortable where we're at, and we're afraid to take risks. What do you say to that?
Time out for a second. I think Omar is a job counselor. He using this insight to get paid. He get paid for this, y'all.
They're loaded, aren't they? Those
These
are
are real
loaded
people we
questions,
talk.
man.
Because he's staying in this employment lane. So
Okay. Well, there's this
these are
scenarios
some of
that
his
pop back
customers.
in my head.
Hey,
But
either
these
that,
scenarios will go from employment or just in general. People just
I
being
get it. I'm
fear.
just messing with you, man.
Yeah.
he's
People
messing
having
with you,
fear.
Omar.
People having fear of success in any
Yeah.
situation.
Come on, let me give somebody else a chance to jump on it, because I counsel, I run
Okay.
into these scenarios like he's talking about.
Oh, really?
And this
Okay.
one here, I just dealt with a couple of weeks ago with a person that was getting ready to be advanced at a university, a position that was open for them. And they were questioning whether they were ready to make that move, ready to make the timing, ready to take the position. And I began to explain to them that one thing about it, if they have seen, sometimes other sees in you what you've been building up to, sometimes that you don't recognize.
Yes.
So when others value, I mean, this is what promotion is all about. Sometimes this is what those aha moments are about, where an advancement comes, an opportunity of a lifetime comes. And of course, our reaction is, oh my, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be qualified? Let me tell you something about any entrepreneur that's hiring anybody for anything. They have learned not to waste time on something that is not valuable.
That's right.
You ain't going to get 15 minutes of Captain Crunch with them if it does not fit something they necessarily need. Boom. And I'm like,
And I'm gonna jump on this one too.
look at that short tank, ain't it?
I kind of lived this as well. There was a time, like I said, out in California, I, making $5 an hour, and then got with a company that I was making a little bit more money, but I saw my life changing for the better. I mean, it looked like it was going up. And I said to myself, okay, my family's in Fort Wayne. I'm in Sacramento, California. And I asked myself, I was standing there looking out the window in the office that I was in, and with a company that I was working for, a Fortune 500 company. And I said, I can easily go back home to where I came from. And I won't have to move forward. I won't have to push through anything. I won't have to continue to excel. I won't have to continue to succeed. I can just go back where I came from and won't nobody ask no questions about it. And I can just be me. Or I can continue to move into the unknown and push my way through and learn and excel. And where it comes out, it comes out at. And that's the life I've lived. Now I'm in from Sacramento to Chicago, from a one single family home, my mother, I was supposed to have been a statistic, but God has blessed me to achieve and to grow. I didn't go back. I didn't look back. I continued to push and continue to grow. and I, with the Lord's help, I was able to succeed. You know, God was able to push me, and he, like I say, when he elevates you, a lot of times he'll elevate you so fast, or you skip steps, and then you have to go back and relearn something that you went so fast and passed up. You got to go back and start relearning things. So I would say, you know, it's easy to turn around. That's the easy route. Move forward, push through those things, push into that new position, learn it, you know, grow it. You know, once you go in it, you're gonna start picking up new skills, and then you might be the one to have to turn around and coach somebody else through. So, you know, to continue, I would say continue to push forward.
And just one quick thought I would like to add. Thank you, Mark, for that. Yes, you got it, man. That's it right there, man. But also, just think about that scripture that says, "Don't cast away your confidence."
That's it.
But there's great recompense and reward.
Yes.
And you got to say to yourself sometime in those situations where you're doubting yourself, you got to say to yourself, why not me?
Yeah.
Other people do it. You know, other people take these leadership positions. Listen, somebody's going to take that position. And we can't allow our self-doubt to override somebody's belief in us. Like if some of these companies want to hire you, but I'm doubting myself.
Yeah.
And they want to hire you because they see the potential in you. So say, why not me? And keep in mind, when companies hire people, they don't expect you to come with 100% of the package. They know there's things that you're going to have to learn on the job, through mentorship, things like that. But go in there with confidence and believe. And I'm an old football player. I played outside linebacker. And sometimes I would look across the line and see some linemen that want me make me go back, sit up in them stands real fast. Because you're coming up here 6'9", 300. And I said, hold on, I got to go up against that all day? So I had to get confidence because I'm like 220 pounds. I was pretty strong, but I got to deal with this big old boy all day. But that confidence would kick in and we'd have ourselves a whale of a game, you know? And that's because why? So we have to have that same thing in life. We got to be confident, got to believe in ourselves. Are we going to make mistakes? Yes. Are we going to fail? Sometimes we will, but we can't doubt that we at least want to get in there and give it a try.
Yeah.
And so that person needs to know they can do it. Why not me? If they're interviewing you, there's something that they see in you that you have the potential to do it. Don't doubt that. Don't doubt it.
And every level, go ahead, sis.
Oh no, I was just saying absolutely. I'll put a different twist on it in reference to female versus male. There's a lot more to consider. I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time, but when I was in corporate America and, you know, I was doing nursing and corporate America at the same time. I did nursing at night and I did corporate in the daytime. When you are presented, a lot of times people see your value before you do, especially when you're doing work and you're just doing it to the best of your ability. And that's who you are. And I fell into that category at one point where I was not fearful. I've never been fearful of failure. As you can see, I always will turn it into something else. But success, you have to weigh some options. As a female, if you already have a family, will the next level be something that takes me away from my already responsibilities of what I have to do at home, as well as bringing me to another level of, I know that I will be able to work into that next level and learn as I go. Will I learn at the pace well enough for the company to benefit from me being in that position? Or is it going to be something that's going to take me longer to get a grasp of, so that I don't want to mess up revenue. I want to keep revenue coming in, actually making more revenue for you, but I need to be aware of that, because at the same time you see my value, it makes no sense if I don't see my value, because I'm not going to bring it the way you expected me to. And now you've not received what you thought by giving me that position, or not giving it, having me earn that position. So there's some other things that weigh in when people are, sometimes they're afraid of success, and sometimes it's responsibilities that are greater than just making the decision of what you want. And sometimes that runs into an issue. But you still have to make the best decision for you. And then a lot of times the family will, find a way to support the situation, but you still have to consider it. So.
I absolutely love what you just shared. Nephew, you were smart having her on the council here. Absolutely. I'm telling you, because I mean, when you hear a woman's perspective, it kind of wrapped a whole different, it kind of packaged what was really necessary. Because when I went in ministry full time and I started becoming a national speaker, I actually had to sit down with my wife and children and make determinations about a lot of things, because I would be gone a lot. I mean, one year I was out 49 weekends in the year, and that's a lot of time. And I mean, made tremendous money, tremendous impact. But we had set up ways that when I would come home, it will be all about family, all about wife, all about that. Oh yeah. And to this day, that's the same principle I live by. That when I give myself to what I'm doing for the Lord, or what I'm doing as a counselor, I give it my best, I give it my all. But when I say I'm shutting down to give to my wife what I owe her, and my children, when they're all grown now, I had to make that. So when you said that, it touched my heart. I do want to do a one-liner. I am, nephew. Every level of advancement takes you out of your comfort zone. That's another thing that you have to know. Every level, every one of us sitting here, every advancement God has ever done in our lives, it challenged our comfort zone.
So true.
Made us evaluate for sure. You're right about that, Antoinette. It made us evaluate the cost, but it challenged us coming out of a comfort zone. If you're not willing to take the risk to come out of a comfort zone, the old familiar place, you will stay there and not make the next level.
That's the truth.
Let me ask you all, for those who apply, you're making a presentation or doing a speech, doing motivational speech, public speaking, and during your presentation and speaking, you get a round of applause, people cheering you on. Did they screaming? Did they yelling? Go ahead, do your thing. That's right. That's right. How does that make you feel as a public speaker? I mean, does that give you like more motivation to just continue to speak on? I mean, what's that feeling like when you're in front of 100 people, 10 people, thousands of people, 10,000 people, when you're making your presentation, you're making your speech, and people just clapping, cheering you on? I mean, man, that must be a great feeling. I always wanted to know how that felt.
It's a tremendous affirmation, man. It really is. I remember when, Pastor Hopkins was talking about nervous speech. It's been one of my speeches I was most nervous about. I spoke at Walmart Corporation. They literally flew me down to Bentonville to speak to all their senior leaders worldwide. And it was at their offices in Bentonville. So they had about 2,000 people there, and they had about another 6,000 via satellite. And you talk about nervous. Words can't put in just how nervous I was for that presentation because of the magnitude of the audience. And one of the former presidents, Lee Scott, was there, and he was retired and he worked billions now. He not doing anything. He in flip-flops and a t-shirt. He not even working no more. and he walks up to me and he says, Coach D, you Coach D? I said, yes, I am, sir. He said, well, I'm gonna tell you how we do speakers here. It's a thing called their Saturday morning meeting. They do it once a month. He said, when a speaker does a good job, I'll give him 2 thumbs up. He said, but if a speaker doesn't do a good job, I'll give him 2 thumbs down. And he said, Coach D, don't let me put my thumbs down, okay? I'm already nervous. And here come a dude that was just on the cover of Fortune magazine telling me. So that kind of inspired me. I said, I can't have that man two thumbs down. So I got up on that stage and I start seeing the adulation of the audience, because you can see the satellite stuff everywhere. And then I saw the president in his chair, he's moving, he excited and all of that. And then afterwards they start clapping and I'm like, oh, I made it through. And so I go to sit down and there's like all these people. I'm only looking for one. I'm looking for this guy. And this is what he does to me, y'all. It wasn't right either. This is what he did to me. He looked at me and he said, he had his hat like on mine. He said, he did down first. And it's just moments like that. You say, man, I love this field. You know what I mean? I love that. Use my voice. Have fun doing it. to make a difference,
Oh,
even
God.
at that time, the largest corporation in the world, because guess
Yeah.
what? They're people too. They're just human. They're mothers, fathers, uncles, like everybody else. So
Yes.
I love it personally because that's a sign that, you know what, you are striking a chord with us.
Yes.
We're going to show it our appreciation by our applause and by our the way we respond.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna jump in there real quick. Same thing, but mine's on actually, like I said, a lower scale. But you know, there was a time I was bringing a word, and you know, in church, and as I was bringing the word, there was a lady in the audience, and I'm gonna tell you, she just started screaming and crying, and you know, the spirit, the Holy Ghost was moving, and I was kind of in a maze, like, wow,
Yeah.
Is that?
I guess I did something right.
I guess I did something.
Is there
So,
someone
but
else?
it did touch me.
Excuse me. Is there someone else before I share something?
Antoinette, you want to go? If you do, if you don't, it's fine.
I just wanted to leave space because I'm
You gonna tear it up? Is that what you? That
no,
what you trying to say? You
I'm going to
ready to
share
tear it up?
something.
He
I'm
giving
going
you
to share
fair
something
warning.
yeah, I want to share this with you guys. Now you're talking about the accolades of praise and adulation when they appreciate what you're saying. What I was in this one time I flew out for a friend, and I was in a particular real country area. I'm not going to name the area because I'm nice, but I was at this church. So I step up in the pulpit, you know, you've got your style, you've got your way. You're gonna actually, go on and bring it the way you bring it in the conferences, I mean, it's worked and you're gonna keep working it. And when I opened the Bible and I told everyone to go to Ephesians chapter 4, the people looked at me real odd. And then I finally realized I was ministering to a group of people that were illiterate. I came off the stage and I grabbed a chair. I said, here goes what we're going to do. I said, we're going to just sit down here and we're going to just talk. And I just started talking about the Bible in story form. It was one of the greatest disarmed, none of my technique, none of my, none of that would have worked. None of the wisdom keys that I had wrote about, not like that. That weekend was an amazing weekend.
I know it was.
But all of my skills, my training, my technique, because you learn how to move after a while, it was not going to work. The Holy Spirit allowed me to be disarmed to teach both them something and me. Our abilities and skills are graced by God. Whether you call it a preacher, motivational speaker, or a person that's just likes to make people feel good, whatever, though that is a gift from God. And he made me realize that don't ever think, boy, because you spoke to a handful of people, fit from 50 to 3,000 and 4,000, don't ever think that I have forgotten that handful. That was an amazing weekend.
Amen.
Okay, what we're gonna do now, we'll close out the show, so I'm gonna give everybody about a minute and a half. Please keep it a minute and a half for any closing comments for those who are interested in being motivational or public speakers, and then leave any contact information for those who may want to get in contact with you. We'll start with Pastor Mark.
Okay, well, I just want to say, continue, everybody out there, continue to do what God is calling you to do. Push forward. Don't let nothing stop you. If you want to get me as a motivational speaker, you can email me at mahopk@hotmail.com. And you also can get my book, What's Stopping You. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, as well as Author House. Just Mark Hopkins, What's Stopping You, and you can get it. That should be it.
Antoinette.
Oh, yes. anybody that's considering motivational speaking, inspirational speaking, transformational speaking, whatever your vision says, you go ahead and do it. Your gut is going to lead you better than anything and anyone else. So you go ahead and be the best you can be. Can't nobody outdo you doing you. And if you want me to have or have a group session or come speak, it's AntoinetteCapri.com. That's the website. And on that website, you can actually contact me by email, by text, or whatever else you need. But Antoinette, AntoinetteCapri.com. My book, 31 Ways to Brighten Your Days, is available in any bookstore because it is a book on demand. You just go in the bookstore and order that, and it's delivered right to your home. So thank you.
Coach D.
Yes, sir. First of all, I just want to say it was a pleasure being here. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I've been on several of these with you. This is by far the best, man. I'm telling you, I've really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Wonderful people. Thank you for your words of wisdom today. But I'll just leave you with a scripture where the Apostle Paul says, "Brethren, I count myself not to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching for those things that are before, I press towards the mark of the prize of the high calling of God, which is in Christ Jesus." Press towards that mark, y'all. This is a mark that you have on your life, your society, for society needs. Press towards it and don't let anybody stop you from going for it. All right. And then as far as my work, I'm not going to say anything about speaking or training. I do a lot of coaching. And if you're interested in become a speaker, a trainer, a consultant, reach out to me at coachdspeaks.com, coachdspeaks.com, because we do a lot of coaching of people that want to do this type of work. And because my plate is really full with all the other stuff, the consulting and coaching and all of that, but with this individual consulting and speaking, but with the coaching, we still take on quite a few clients to help people bring that gift out of them, to use their voice to make a difference. But let me warn you, we're a different kind of coach. We want this to be purpose driven, not just because I'm fame and glory. This is about using my voice to really make a difference in the lane that God has me in. That's the kind of the difference in the way we do our coaching. So,
yes.
All right.
Apostle, take us home.
Amen. Well, I'm Ivory Hopkins. You can find me on the internet. I come up everywhere, Ivory Hopkins or Apostle Ivory Hopkins. We've written 14 books, and I think if you ever check out our website at pilgrimsministry.org or just type my name, you'll find something that can touch your life. And I just want to encourage everybody to just, amen, let God bring out of you the best. The things that have gotten in your way that you thought you couldn't make it with, those are the things that develop you into greatness. And I want to say to the panel here, y'all are awesome. I had such fun. I mean, you guys just keep doing what you're doing and what have you, and be the best you can be. Right in your hands, nephew.
All right. Thank you all for being a guest on today's show, taking your time and opportunity. I know you all have busy schedules because y'all big time. So thank you once again for being a guest. For those who are watching, please like, subscribe, and share. All right. Peace. Have a safe week. And God bless and stay safe.
God bless.
Right. God bless you now.
All right.
Bye-bye, everybody.
It was
Take
wonderful.
care, everybody.
yeah.
Already.